So if you remember last year, we had oil in this gearbox, and if you haven't seen that episode, click on this link here or look down in the description for it, or you can search on our YouTube page for it. But this gearbox was full of water. One thing I will say is when it had water in the gearbox, it would coat this thing with oil all over the gearbox because it was over full essentially, and it was slinging stuff all over, and it would just coat it. After I cleaned it last year and changed that out, not a bit of oil on this. The thing is it's only supposed to be filled to oil to here, and it filled to about here with a combination of oil and water. So you can see why it would sling it out and make a mess. And last year when I slipped the clutches, I went in and I loosened all the springs, did it the right way. Takes a long time because you got to take off this plate just to get into it. So I'm going to try just to put a board in the tines this year and at an idle go slow and see if I can't slip it without loosening it. Probably not right, but I don't think I'm going to break anything. So that's the importance of slipping your clutch. In that case, with the board in there, it did not slip. It just killed the tractor. So that tells me I'm definitely gonna have to loosen those bolts. And if that would have been happening when I was running full bore, probably wouldn't have slipped. And we would have potentially tore out something out of the transmission of the tractor or something on the tiller itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and raise this up. I'm going to clean the dirt out from underneath it, and then I'm going to put jack stands under it. So now you can see we got the jack stands under it. We're pretty safe. I feel confident I can work around it and not worry about it falling and smashing my feet. First, we got to take this shield off.
Now's a good time to talk about the benefits of hitting the subscribe button. If you haven't had the chance to, if you don't mind, we'd love it if you'd hit that subscribe. Also, ring the bell, and that will give you a notification every time we release a new video. Thanks, and have a great day.
So this is definitely not the direction I intended for this video to go, but it's a good opportunity to really educate on slip clutches, how they actually work, and why it's important to slip them. So let's go ahead and get started with it. So as you saw earlier in the episode, I tried to slip this clutch just by forcing it to slip. And what I done is I put a board in the rotor of the tiller at an idle, engaged the PTO, and was trying to get it to slip. It would not slip, so that told me I was gonna have to take this apart and loosen the springs off, and then slip it and then torque everything back up. So let's talk a little bit about how a slip clutch works. So how it works is you've got an outer plate here and the outer plate over here. So two plates here with springs that are squeezing these two plates together. The drive shaft comes in and is mounted to this plate here. So this yoke of the U-joint is connected to this plate. This plate and this plate have to run at the same speed. They always do. The output shaft over here runs through the center of this plate and is basically friction driven on the center by these two outside plates squeezing together. So when you hit something large, what happens is there's the coefficient of friction between the inner and outer plates is not high enough, and it basically allows this to stop spinning while this continues spinning. What happens whenever you've went through a winter and you haven't ran it for a while is the inner plate and the outer plates get rusted, a little bit of rust in them, and they basically fuse together. So by loosening these springs, you reduce the amount of clamping force and then that allows it to go ahead and break free, spin, get some of that rust out of there, and then you can retorque the springs. It's important to count how many rotations or to measure the spring compression before you start so that you can put it back to where it's supposed to be at. And then it should be good. If you do notice after you put it back together that it's slipping a little bit, you can go ahead and give each one of these maybe a quarter turn or a half turn more, and that should stop that. So we're going to go ahead at this point and start loosening springs. 5/8. Is it 5/8 on both sides? Nope, 11/16 on that side. So this one's usually the easiest one to get to because of there's some paint on there and the socket doesn't want to go on. Okay, I'm going to start now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I counted basically 10 from hitting here to hitting here 10 times. I'm going to put the PTO in neutral. And we're going to rotate to the next one. So it's in about the same position. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen them until the springs are all completely off and reset them all because some of them are probably tighter than others. It's probably about 25 turns when they're all just starting to touch the spring, or 25 ratchet pulls. All right, that's all the springs are extremely loose. They're floppy. So there you can see the output shaft, the input shaft, and you should be able to monitor that. I'm going to put my block in for attempt number 2. This will definitely slip the clutch, loose as those are. Got the PTO shaft turning, but the output shaft is not turning at all into the gearbox, so we're good to go. We'll let it slip for a little bit, kind of knock out any loose rust and all that, and we'll start torquing it back up. Don't need to go fast on the RPM, just a nice idle. That's plenty good to not get things terrible hot. So I feel it here. Yeah, it's not hot at all. So it wasn't really heating, but it definitely slipped good. So we should be good to start torquing things back up. So first thing I want to do is torque each spring until it's tight to the metal without starting to compress it. So I'd say that's tight to the metal without compressing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We're going to start with 20 and see how we do from there. Mark them as I do them here. These are the last 2 to do. All right, that's it. They're all torqued back up. Finished servicing the tiller, which shouldn't be much. And we got to put that shield back on. And then I got the U-joints on the drive shaft to do.
By this point in the video, my microphone's batteries must have died, and I didn't realize it. Otherwise, I would have switched to the internal microphones. But essentially, just wanted to tell everybody, you know, this is how you service the slip clutch and why it's so important to do that anytime you're getting ready to start a season with an implement that has a slip clutch on it. If it doesn't slip, it's no longer a fuse, and something else will find its way to break. Again, I want to thank everybody that's subscribers already. I want to also thank those that are watching this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please give us a subscription. That would be awesome. We're trying to grow the channel, and would love to hit 1,000 subscribers. That would be very cool. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Who's Your Helpers, and check out some of our other episodes for more on tilling and tiller maintenance, and check out some of our newer videos coming out later this year. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.